All right, I got it. Recording in progress.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, all right. Well, welcome to the BDSM podcast. All those booze, desserts, smokes, and meats people. We
Mm-hmm.
are back with another edition of the States. So I am Professor Porkline, and I'm your awesome co-host with me.
The Meat Viking.
And we are still continuing down. We are probably like halfway through, maybe
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit more than halfway.
Dude, I ran out of fingers. We're somewhere.
Well, we're somewhere in the middle, I guess, but
Yeah.
we are gonna move along to Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta ask, man, have you ever been to Maryland?
No.
No? Oh man, okay.
No.
Well, I can tell you
But
one thing, and people who have been to Maryland before, the aquarium is dope as hell. So if you've ever been to Maryland before, you definitely know about the aquarium. But there's also plenty of other things to do in there as well. And hopefully we'll get to some of the foods that we enjoy.
kind of funny that a state that would be so heavy on seafood, their one of their main attractions is their aquarium. So that just sounds like maybe you can catch your own dinner. That should be a thing that you can do at the aquarium. So
Yeah, I would recommend taking a little drive down there, man. The Baltimore Aquarium is freaking great.
yeah. I'm down for that. So but whew, think it's time we discuss our safe word. And I'm okay with this because I'm also equally not okay with that. And one of
Okay.
the common um, plans in Maryland is the Christmas fern. And because Christmas pretty much starts in September, if you ask any fucking like Hallmark or store, Thanksgiving gets completely screwed. And so we just finished Halloween. We might as well start Christmas by now. Um, and I actually got a Christmas beer today. It
Okay.
is from Platform Brewing Company. You know, the same brewing company that I've been raving about with their sweet potato beers. This is the South Pole Elf. It is a Christmas ale with notes, and I'm quoting here: cookies, spice, all things nice. You're looking at 12 fluid ounces and 8% alcohol by volume.
Damn, okay. 8%. You drink a couple of those bad boys, you should be feeling some all spice and everything nice.
Mm, that beer's like a Christmas cheer. That's good. I don't taste the cookies, but I do taste some spices that I can't quite point out. But my taste buds are shot from like eating and cooking all throughout the day. So
Yeah, well, that's
yeah, I
totally understandable.
so this morning I did two dark chocolate pancakes and then I did two egg sandwiches on rye. After this is done, I'm gonna throw some porterhouses on with some sweet potatoes and some asparagus and have myself a good dinner before I decide that I only want ramen noodles the rest of the week. So
Okay.
yeah, but that's where I'm at right now. What you drinking?
Well, the wife had some champagne left over, so I figured I'd be classy broad today and do a little bit of a mimosa.
Oh, a mimosa.
Yeah, so I'm a classy broad today, and all you other people that enjoy mimosas, man, can't go wrong with just orange juice and champagne.
Did you
So
ever you've seen the Harry Potter movies, right?
yeah,
So you remember Hermione Granger, like Leviosa, right?
yeah,
You ever
yeah.
see the adult version of that? It's mimosa, not mimosa.
That's great.
Yeah. So whenever I think of mimosas, that's what I kind of associate with that now.
Well, I'm making sure to drink this bad boy with the pinky up.
Oh, there you go, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yeah.
So how do you want to start off um this episode? as far as I didn't find any like. Let me see if I can prove myself wrong.
Well, you know what? I feel like we should start off with crabs. Okay,
Fair,
just because I mean Maryland is known for their crabs.
right?
Uh, but yeah, just so depending on the season, you can get either you can get the hard shell crab or you can get the soft shell crab. And I think one of the big ones that people enjoy is that soft shell crab. Um, I've had them before. I've had the fried ones and I've had the steamed ones. I think the fried ones are just way better just because of the batter that they use.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you could essentially eat almost the whole thing. Like you don't want to eat the face part of it, and there's a little bit in the middle section where you're not going to eat because it's like all the guts and whatnot. But man, you can totally eat the legs. You can eat the the pincers and whatnot where all the meat is. So I think depending on the season and depending on how you like it, going with some soft shell crab is actually a pretty cool thing. Now, if you want the hard shell crab, and it's very similar to the whole lobster experience, I mean, you can get some crackers and crack those bad boys open and get the same meat and dip it in butter and do all that too. So, um, yeah, it becomes a very messy thing. I think when we were talking about Maine, we're talking about the whole lobster stuff. And even in Louisiana, we were talking about the crawfish boils. Well, the whole crab stuff is very similar to that. I mean, I've been to places where they just dump them all out with all the seasonings and everything and potatoes and whatnot. And then you just go to town on it and you make a messy, aftermath out of everything and just make sure you have some bibs and a napkin.
Hmm.
So have you ever had any of like any crab at all?
Oh yeah, I've had crab. I had crab and lobster and all sorts of seafood while in Maine.
Okay,
So I've
so
had
you
I've had blue crab. I've had, oh my god, stone crab claws, king crab. You know, like I do enjoy me some crab. I just live in a state where crab is not easily accessible.
I mean, I don't know if I would take anything coming out of that Lake Erie.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. The kind of crabs that I would catch out from there have like four pinchers, and two of them are where eye stalks are supposed to be. Like it's not the kind of crabs or kind of fish that you should probably eat.
Well, I almost feel like the same kind of crabs you'd catch there would be connected to some meth head.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, dude, no, it's a comic, but waiting to happen. You know how like when we get to New Jersey, there's all those like nuclear power plants, and like you had these super villains. They're like, I was born from New Jersey power plant waste. Okay, yeah, like that is essentially like Lake Erie, just the Ohio version. It's like we're waiting for like a villainous catfish to come out of like the Maumee Bay and then just destroy. You,
Destroyed.
yep. We'll need to call in Godzilla. It'd be a mess, and then I'll be back to work on Tuesday. So
Well, for the people that may not like to get all dirty and get all messy with crabs, but still enjoy them, the next best thing is crab cakes. So I
mhm.
love me some crab cakes, man.
Dude,
I don't know about you.
okay, like so I got a list of things I wish I could have more of, and like on that list is hush puppies, and then somewhere either above or below it, depending on that day, is crab cakes. Okay, and I love me some hush puppies.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
was just saying I love crab cakes, man. So, like I had said, there are a couple of things that I wish I could eat more of in life, and that is hush puppies and crab cakes. And now, like, there's that famous restaurant. They have a picture of a three-letter colored crustacean. Um, I'm sure you can figure out which one I'm talking about. But they have like these cheese and crab biscuits, crab cakes, dude, those are delicious. I don't know if you've had those or not.
Yeah, I've had those.
Yeah.
But so I know with my crab cakes, I like them fried.
Okay.
I've had them baked before. Like I've definitely had them fried, baked, and sautéed. But I think the fried is probably the best bet that you can get through.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're adding a little bit of some breadcrumbs and things like that. But having the remoulade, some people will put tartar sauce on there too. But I mean, I'll do it if it's there.
But why?
Um, yeah, I mean it's tartar sauce, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe I'm like wrong on this, but like most of crab cakes that I've had have already been like nice and steamy and moist.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't need to like add tartar sauce. But
Now,
different strokes for different folks.
do you put a lemon on yours?
I don't like put a lemon on there.
Do you squeeze
Uh,
a lemon on
I'll
it?
squeeze a little bit of lemon on it.
See, you know what? I think seafood tastes just fine without the lemon. But I mean,
In my defense, I enjoy lemon. Like
okay.
I'll do lemon water. It's like I'll do lemon meringue pie. I'll do lemonade. Don't give a damn. If it's got lemon in it, probably I like it.
Well, then that
So,
kind of goes to a future thing later on that we'll talk about that you might enjoy.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. So crab cakes. I've had them where they throw some like mozzarella cheese on top and melt all the bad boy and everything. And so I totally recommend to grab some if you enjoy crab but don't want to do any of the messy side stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm sure that there's other crab stuff too. Like I feel like there's a lot of things dealing with Maryland that's crab. You can probably do like obviously you have the blue crab, the crab bake, the crab cakes. You probably have some crab soup going in there somewhere. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there's probably some other crab things.
Yep.
Um, so just enjoy it if you're gonna do all of that.
Yep. And like a thing too, you can make it yourself like a oh gosh, I forget the name of it. It's a pico de gallo, but it's called something different because it uses shrimp in it. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. But you could replace that shrimp with crab and you would have essentially the same thing.
Oh yeah.
So, but I think what this will segue into our next uh topic. And when you're cooking crabs, you need a seasoning, right?
Yes, sir. I know where
And
this is going.
yeah, the most common uh like seafood seasoning is Old Bay. Um now
Dude, I didn't even realize Old Bay was made in Maryland. Like I
so
totally can see it. Like because I mean it's used in just about everything, especially with anything dealing with, you know, the
mhm,
sea.
right.
But I didn't realize that it was one of the quintessential things for Maryland, to be honest with you, and that it was invented in 1940.
Yeah. And so like I try to do some research into like some background of Old Bay and like I was able to find that it was created in Baltimore, Maryland. Um and it is kind of marketed by McCormick and Company, which if you've ever been to Kroger and you see their spices and seasonings, you can see that that's pretty much there. But Old Bay has like a very noticeable can. It's like mostly yellow with a blue stripe and a red topper.
Yeah.
Um, However, I did find a way for you foodies who want to try and make your own version of Old Bay seasoning. Um, it's not quite the same, but a little bit here and there will kind of make it work for you. And then I've also got a couple of things that you can use the seasoning in. And
Dude,
so,
dude, just before you say about what the seasoning in, like I feel like you can put that in just about everything. You know
oh yeah,
how Red Hot, how
mm-hmm,
their logo right now is we put that shit on everything.
yep,
Dude, I feel like Old Bay should be like we put our shit on everything too. It's like Old Bay omelet, Old Bay freaking Caesar salad, Old Bay freaking hollandaise sauce, Old Bay whatever, and it's like Spaceballs.
Right.
Spaceballs the movie, Spaceballs the TV.
Yep. Oh, and see, it's funny you mentioned omelets and salads because on the tin it says for seafood, poultry, salads, and meats. And apparently it's been going on for 70 years. The Old Bay has.
Yeah.
So, um, in fact, it's like so famous that you could almost say like no coastal kitchen is complete without having some Old Bay or some form of Old Bay style seasoning, right?
Yeah.
And apparently it came over from a German immigrant named Gustav Brunn, who started the Baltimore Spice Company from downtown Baltimore, who fled Nazi Germany in 37 with only a small spice grinder. And he created this shrimp and crab seasoning, and it was meant to service the needs of the nearby seafood market. And later he renamed it to Old Bay. And after the Old Bay line passenger ship that traveled the waters of the Chesapeake Bay in the early 1900s, and in 1990, it was picked up by McCormick and Company, who purchased the rights to Old Bay. But they offer it in that tin that we had described today. Um, Now, according to McCormick, Old Bay is a blend of 18 herbs and spices. Um, Unfortunately, some of those spices remain a mystery due to McCormick. However,
Well, yeah.
this recipe is the one that is apparently pretty close, and I got this from allrecipes.com. And it is 2 tablespoons of celery salt, quarter teaspoon of paprika, an eighth teaspoon of ground black pepper, eighth teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a pinch of dry mustard, pinch of ground nutmeg, pinch of ground cinnamon, pinch of ground cardamom, 1 pinch ground allspice, 1 pinch ground cloves, and 1 pinch ground ginger. And you just whisk that all together and you store in an airtight container. Um, so things that they recommend using this on is frogmore stew, which is kind of like a seafood jambalaya. Where you're
Okay.
gonna have things like red potatoes, sausage, corn, and shrimp. Um, your fish chowders, which you and I both know we love ourselves a good chowder. Um, some easy baked tilapia, and then some crab cakes are the four that they recommend trying some Old Bay on. So,
Yeah, they just have Old Bay on everything, man.
mm-hmm,
Just throw it on everything.
right. But do you want to head to you want to keep our crab train going, or do you want to go to like a side?
No, let's keep the crab train going because there's a couple other things that we can get out of the way, and then we can move to some other stuff.
All right. So you're gonna have to help me with the pronunciation of this. Uh, it is UTZ.
It's Utz, man.
It's Utz.
Yeah, if anybody's from the Northeast, you know that it's Utz.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So,
those
uh,
are. It's always funny, man, because when I lived out in Ohio for a while, people had no idea what that was, but the people who like vacationed to the East Coast,
mm-hmm,
they were like, "Oh man, if you ever go back, bring back us some Utz chips." I was like, "Deal."
mm-hmm. So, now apparently the Utz crab chips taste like not crab, but they taste like all the seasonings that you would use for your crab. Um, and apparently there is specifically an Utz brand of Old Bay. So they're real potatoes, 100%, cottonseed oil until they're perfectly crispy. And apparently in Maryland, they are super, super popular.
Oh yeah, it's not even in Maryland to be honest with you. we'll get to them because I looked at it briefly, and they're actually headquartered in Pennsylvania. So when we get to Pennsylvania, I'll explain more about it
Mm. Well,
because of the fact that everybody was like, "Hey man, you got to bring back some Utz chips." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
so I saw that it was headquartered in Pennsylvania, but the article that I was reading said 90% of their market is in Maryland.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, that's kind of like one of those border things that you're like, yeah, this happens over here, but we sell it over there, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I guess it depends on. I mean, so it's in Hanover, which is pretty close to the Maryland border. Like you're looking at like a stone's throw away to Baltimore.
mm-hmm.
So I can see why, they're headquartered there and then the majority of their stuff is in Maryland.
Yeah.
So, but I also want to let you know that with Utz, there's also a competitor.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah. So, have you ever had hers chips?
HURTZ or
No, HERRS.
don't think so.
Yeah, so that's another Pennsylvania chip as well. So uh, it's kind of like they're the small fish in the big pond of like the Frito Lay, the Kraft, Nabisco, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the hers, they uh, they also have their brand of potato chips with Old Bay seasoning.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
it's legit Old Bay seasoning. So that's another one that I would always bring around too is having the hers too.
Mm-hmm.
So and I guess I've never had the Old Bay seasoning chips from either the Utz or the hers, but I've had both of their chips and they're actually pretty damn good. So when we get to the Pennsylvania side, I'll definitely go a little bit more into that, and that one might have to be a two-parter.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so that I guess it's a way to compete with Utz. And again, they're like the small fish in a big pond because of all the other Kraft and whatnot, Frito Lay, but they're still like a top 10 company for both of them.
Right.
So you can, I guess, if you ever find them, just pick them up and you can decide for yourself if you really enjoy them or not.
Now,
But yeah,
see,
hers is the other one that's definitely popular too.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I already enjoy like Louisiana and Cajun style seasonings.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna make potato chips and just douse a can of Old Bay in that bag and shake it around, I'm probably gonna be okay with that.
I think you would be, man.
So,
But I think that kind of goes along to the majority of the crab stuff. So I know foodies, if you're listening to this and you feel like we missed out on something, you could let us know. But I mean, it's just like there's crab everywhere. It's
mm,
Maryland,
yeah,
and if there's, it's like a Bubba from Forrest Gump, where he's like, "Oh, we
shrimp.
got shrimp jumbo, shrimp gumbo." I mean, it's like, "Oh, we got shrimp crab cakes, or we got crab gumbo, crab gumbo." You can fucking do anything with it.
Mm-hmm. So, but speaking of potato chips, um, this will go into our next topic here, which apparently in Maryland there is a famous fry shack known as Thrashers.
Okay.
Thrashers French fries. In 1922, a Georgian man known as Mr. J.T. Thrasher introduced a unique concept into the business community of Ocean City, Maryland. Creative Southerner proposed a food stand concession which would specialize in only one product, the French fry. Met with skepticism, and being an extremely religious man, Mr. Thatcher decided to forge ahead with his enterprise, and his idea was just to simply produce the best French fry ever eaten, past, present, or future, and he did. Um, Thrasher originated was based upon quality ingredients, hard work, and above all, attention to perfection of each cup of fries. The product itself, Thrasher found only the highest quality potato would suffice. This meant potatoes had to be bought from different regions, if not different states, at different times of the season. Um, so like instead of we'll just say getting his Idaho potatoes like most of us would, this guy would go all up and down the U.S. and search for perfect potatoes during the season to make sure that he had the best French fries around. Um,
Huh.
so and his labor force that he hired was all hardworking girls from a Christian affiliated school in Georgia. Um, and they ended up running his entire operation for many years while he would house the girls in a dormitory above the present Bank of Ocean City. So,
Creeper.
yeah, it was a little creepy, but apparently, the way I'm reading this article is these girls would be coming up from Georgia as like a summer intern kind of job, and then he would just essentially pay for their housing on the beach.
Okay.
So,
Still sounds like a
yeah,
creeper.
no,
Hey
it's
girl,
sketchy.
how
Yeah,
about you come work for me and I'll pay for your
yeah,
housing for the summer.
right. No, it's
you
sketchy.
you better have big tits and some and some nice eyes
Yep.
because I don't want to see any flat chested women while I'm working. Like I could just see that just being creepy as fuck.
Well, that's how Hooters was brought. So
Yeah. Oh God. We
uh,
already talked about Florida, right? I mean,
we
so
did.
yeah, Florida's just a state in its own for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I mean that's kind of interesting with those. Um,
So, well, an important thing here is through 5 generations in 80 years, Thrashers has only changed hand twice. Tradition rules and quality reign supreme, and there will be no deviation from original procedures or original recipes. So the only reason it's changed over is because Mr. Thrasher passed away, and then the person who bought it from him also had passed away after owning the company for 34 years. So it's still going on today, but it seems like once you were a Thrasher Fry person, you stay a Thrasher Fry person.
Interesting.
Yep. So
Yeah,
and
that
you
was one of the ones that I missed, I guess. I never got a chance to have any of those going through Maryland.
yeah. So that's what I had seen. Um so what do you got up next on our plate here?
Well, I kind of want to talk about this stuff that I learned about Maryland pit beef.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I think of barbecue, I think of shit that's, Texas,
Yep.
Kansas, somewhere in the South where it's been slow roasted for 24 hours and, just got an awesome smoke ring on it. And I don't know if I trust having Maryland pit beef or not because it's basically for people that don't want to wait that long.
Man, I was kind of reading that same article and I am with you. I didn't know how to feel about that.
I guess it's popular. I mean, there's a couple places that you can get them at, but I just don't feel like that's something I would thoroughly enjoy and expect from a state like Maryland. Like they should stick with their seafood, stick with the crabs, stick with the trout, stick with all that other crap, man. But don't be going into the barbecue world and half-assing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? For people that enjoy Maryland and you think that we're wrong, go ahead and square up. Like, let's go because I don't think that you're gonna win.
Right.
It just doesn't. It's minimally seasoned from what I read. It basically just spins on the grill, a little bit until it's cooked on the outside, and then they slice it really thin. So you can have it. I'm all good for having a mid rare steak. I don't want to have mid rare barbecue.
No,
You
I
know,
agree.
you got to freaking cook that up to temperature because it's gonna be soft anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then just because you throw it on some bun with some coleslaw and some fries doesn't mean that it's gonna be the best part.
Right.
So I feel like this pit beef has got to be mentioned but not enjoyed, or mentioned but not like thoroughly looked into?
See, I don't know because I'm kind of like pulling up pictures here of pit beef. It looks a little plain. Um, you know what it reminds me of?
What's that?
Like an Arby's roast beef, but they just threw some onions on it.
No.
Because let me see. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like that just looks like an Arby's roast beef sandwich with some onions.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, but like it doesn't look bad. So like I think I would try it. I don't know if I'd enjoy it.
I mean, do you enjoy Arby's roast beef sandwiches?
I prefer their beef and cheddars. So maybe if I can talk him to throw some cheese on it.
Yeah, that might be a little bit better.
So man.
But I feel like that's the only thing really for that when it's coming to their meat. I feel like they should just stick to all the seafood.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
I
I
think
do.
oh
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think it's time to head into our beer unless you've got some other food because I've got a dessert, but
I've got a couple desserts and candies that I know about.
okay.
So get into the beer and then we can move into the dessert candy side.
Okay. So full disclosure, this is no longer brewed in Maryland. It's actually brewed in Russia. Looks like it's owned by the Pabst Brewing Company, and Russia bought it out in 1996. However, 90% of natural Bohemian is consumed in Ray Lewis territory, which is like the big crab part of Maryland. So,
I did not realize that they were bought out by the Russians.
yeah. So, at least that's what the article I was reading today. Um, Now, a couple of important things about natural um, Bohemian or Natty Bo, as they prefer to call it.
Natty Bo.
Yeah. In the 1940s, they became the first brewer to start selling beer by the six pack. Um,
Okay.
yep. And apparently, in in their bottle caps, after you pop open a Natty Bo, they have a puzzle for you to solve, and they actually have an app on your phone too to help you like solve these like riddles that are under the bottle cap. And I'll screen share here, and I think this one says it's from the 1970s. Wrong. And it's going to be a little hard to like tell. So you have a brain teaser under this cap right here.
The airplane
Mm-hmm.
something.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah. So, but it looks like F plus ace is probably face. So now 405, I don't know if that's like a bottle number marking, um, or if it's in reference to this airplane being like a. We'll just because my airplane history is a little rusty. So let's say if it was number 747 in that plane, it could be like a Boeing 747, you know. But
Yeah.
um, apparently, bars need to know that if they serve you a Natty Bow and they don't give you a bottle cap with it, that you can actually report them to Natty Bow and they will get a warning and a violation from doing that. So yeah.
Well, that's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, for more than a decade, you couldn't get Natty Bow on draft because of
The puzzle.
Yep. And then looks like you can actually get proposed there. And you can see this is probably like the most Maryland thing. They've got their natty ba, and then they have their Old Bay seasoning in the same photo. So, because apparently those go very, very well. And if you don't or like aren't a fan of like cocktails, taking a knee and shotgunning a nutty boat is called an Omar. So yeah. And if you want to, you can attempt it with their big bow can, which is their new 24 ounce. Uh apparently it also has its own like cult language where they'll be like there will be bows, the Born Identity, the Big Lebowski, Bowback Mountain. So just like some they're called bowisms for you and your friends to do, which I thought was kind of interesting. Also, I got to give credits to the cosplayer right here. So good on you, dude.
I wonder if they're the first ones to do that because I remember other beers having that. Like I remember Moosehead
Mm-hmm.
would have those puzzles underneath, and you'd be getting drunk. And I think Mickey's does the same thing,
Right.
which is uh Mickey's is what the hell is
A
shit.
lot.
It's no, it's I'm blanking. It's like a 40 malt liquor. There you go.
Oh, gotcha.
God, that took fucking forever out of my brain.
Yeah. I don't know why
But
you just didn't say it was like a Cobra, because like I would have recognized that.
yeah, I was gonna say 40 was gonna be my next thing, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I remember those having those puzzles too. So I wonder if they're the first ones to do it.
I don't know.
And man, it was crazy. You get wasted, and
Mm-hmm.
because Moosehead wasn't that expensive back in the day, and we would always get a case of it. And you start pounding those beers down, and you start looking, and you start getting a little double vision, going, "Oh fuck, what is this?"
Right.
So I wonder if I bet you they were probably the first ones since they were stickler about freaking giving you the cap and not having it on draft.
It's highly possible.
So good for
Highly,
them
highly
for being
possible.
the innovators and the front runners on that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sure they probably have other breweries now that are probably just as crazy. But I haven't been to Maryland since I've been of legal age, so I can't say that I have had the Natty Bow.
Sounds like we need to take a field trip.
Yeah, I need to go to Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
but um, so I have a couple desserts. I know that you have one of them.
I'll let you cover
Uh,
the desserts, bud.
so there's a one that I think you would like, and because you're telling me that you like lemon, so it's actually called a lemon stick.
Ooh.
So it's around springtime, and essentially you get yourself some peppermint candy.
Mm-hmm.
You cut yourself some lemon in half, and then you stick that peppermint candy right in there, like you're going in raw, right into the middle of it. And then, like the old school fun dips,
Yeah.
where like you lick the bar and you stick it in there, and then basically gateway into doing cocaine because you snort
Yeah.
it. Well, you kind of do the same thing with this. So you basically, stick the peppermint right into the center of there, and then you lick it, and then you keep on licking it while you keep on sticking it in.
Hmm.
So you get a little bit more of a lemony flavor. Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, I think it's kind of a safe alternative to the fun dip,
Oh yeah.
getting kids addicted.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I'm not a big lemon person, so would you
So
elaborate on shit like that?
dude, you had me until you said it had peppermint on it.
Well, yeah, it's a peppermint candy.
Right? And that's where I'm confused. Because like when I think of peppermint and candy, I think of either just straight peppermint or like peppermint bark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would have to attempt this, and I don't know how I feel about it. and that worries me.
Well, I mean, you can find some peppermint, you can find yourself some lemons, and do it in the comfort of your own home. So if you hate it, you can just throw it away.
Right? That's that's one way to look at it, there, bud.
You don't have to go to freaking Maryland to check that check that out.
No, I'm real deal. It's got to be all or nothing.
So
So
I don't know how I feel about this, but apparently it's a popular thing to do in the summer.
hmm.
So it seems like it's pretty simple, you know. And I guess more as you taste more as the lemon starts to dissolve more, and it's one of those fucking things you can do it yourself, or you can go pay someone to do it for you.
Oh,
I don't know where
that's
the hell that came from. Like, I wonder who was sitting there going, "All right, I got these two things in my kitchen, and I want to eat something. So let's just cut this in half and stick it in and see what happens."
right. Like that's a weird one, even
Yeah,
for me.
like some things do come together with, hey, I can't believe you figured that out. But other things are like, why? Why are you doing that?
Exactly.
So I guess there's another dessert that's out there. It's called the Smith Island cake, and it's essentially you take eight thin layers of a yellow cake. Okay, so you can bake it and then cut it into some thin ass layers, and then you put some chocolate fudge icing in between each layer, and then you put chocolate fudge icing on top, and it's the state's official dessert. So it's named for an island that's off the Chesapeake Bay, and it can be traced back to the 1800s. So this has been happening for a real long time, and I think I can deal with the buttercream frosting,
Mm-hmm.
but
Buttercream's pretty good.
yeah, and there's the rest is history. So it looks like a little towering, chocolate cake with a bunch of layers in between. So I feel like that would just be tedious, though. You're like, I like
Yeah.
making cake. I like being able to put the buttercream and stuff on it, but I wouldn't want to be like, all right, here's a thin layer here. Let's throw some shit on it. Here's a thin layer here. Let's throw some more shit on it. And then spend 45 minutes just, you know, layering eight cakes together.
You're like Oprah Winfreying that cake. You get a layer, and then you get a layer, and you get a layer.
Yeah. So that's just, I would eat it because it looks good and it has chocolate in it, but I just don't think that's one of my things.
So how about the other dessert, the one that I have?
Yeah, go for it.
It is known as the burger cookie.
Yeah, but it's not the Burger, right?
Right, it's Berger. Um, these began in 1835 when German immigrant Henry Berger arrived in the United States. Baker by trade, Henry came to the land of opportunity to follow his dreams. Opened a bakery in East Baltimore. Um, and the oh, they don't even go into like what these are here. That's just like the history of them. Do 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 do. Essentially, though, from what I can see about this, this is like a shortbread sugar cookie, and then on top of that, it is covered in chocolate fudge, and it looks delicious. Let me see if I can find a quick recipe. So I do have an image here of these burger cookies, and in this picture here, you can see it almost looks like a donut. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, now I see it.
Yeah. Um, but here's a better thing. This right here would be more of your shortbread style cookie, and then it's just completely covered in this chocolate fudge style icing, and that's something I can get behind.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
So it looks super simple to make too. So if you guys wanted to try that, if you went over to where'd it go? You're looking at about 30 minutes of prep time and 11 minutes to cook. Um, for the cookies itself, you're gonna need 5 1/3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, half a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of vanilla extract, teaspoon of baking powder, half cup of granulated sugar, one large egg, 1 1/2 cup of unbleached all-purpose flour, third cup of milk, and then for your icing, you're gonna do 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, 1 1/2 tablespoon of light corn syrup, teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3/4 cup of heavy cream, 1 1/2 cup of confectioner sugar, and then an 8 tablespoon of salt. So super easy to make. Um, and they're saying in here like the tips from the people who use this recipe, while the icing they use is missing the original burger cookies taste because it's got almost more of like a Hostess cupcake icing feel.
Ooh,
The
Hostess is good.
yeah, they're gonna say that it's relatively close and goes pretty good with this. Um, and it looks good. I mean, it looks. I don't know how to describe it. It just looks like a tasty cookie, man.
I'd eat it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's got chocolate on it. I'd eat it.
yeah, yep. I
Well,
can't argue with that.
so I got one more. It's not a dessert. It's more of a candy. Have you ever had a cow tail?
Yeah.
Dude, those were made in freaking Maryland, actually in Baltimore.
Oh wow.
So I mean, those things are pretty cool, and it actually started out in the Baltimore Chewing Gum Company, uh, and it happened to be in 1917. So this dude actually made what were called caramel creams.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how when you bite into the cow tail, it's got the white center, like that creamy center.
Yep.
So picture one of those, like picture when you bite into it, or if you were to like just chop it up, picture that as being bigger. So
Mm.
it essentially was something that looks like a bullseye, right? Because you had the chocolate on the outside, you had the cream in the middle, and they actually were like the size of coins.
Oh.
So that was basically what they would buy, and it was the caramel cream. And the dude had the idea to be like, hey, why don't we just stretch this out a little bit and put them into wrapping so that they're thin, rolled out versions of that caramel cream, and then boom, there's the cow tail.
Mm.
So I remember as a kid getting those, and you know, I know some of my friends that would just eat the shit out of those things.
They are good. They're not like my favorite candy, but it's definitely a respectable candy.
Yeah, I would agree on that one. So, but it like I couldn't believe that it was actually made in Baltimore.
Right?
So, thinking as how Halloween has gone by now, like
Sadly.
would you give out those things to the kids, or would you be like, here, have a Snickers, kid?
Bro, I fucking hate kids.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. No, just like every time, like we haven't ever got um Halloween candy. I've always been coming home from work and we've like door dashed or ordered pizza, and it
Yeah.
never fails. We always forget it's Halloween, and so we have our light on for the pizza driver, and then we get the knock, and it's trick or treat, and then we feel like assholes because we forgot to get candy for kids. So,
Sorry, kids, not today.
yeah,
Or you
yeah.
know what you should do is like get the knock and be like, wait a second, hold on, I got something, and like go give them an onion or something, and be
Right.
like, here.
One year, like I gave them money. I was like, "Look, dude," I was like, "I got to turn my light off, but you guys came up here and I feel bad, so here's $1." So,
Go buy yourself some gum. Don't
right,
spend it all in one place.
yeah. So,
Well, I don't think I have anything else more important. I think we've kind of not gotten everything, but for the people that are hardcore Maryland people, you can let us know what we missed.
well, it also kind of like is a detriment to Maryland because we just came off of a two-part episode in Maine, which
Yeah,
referenced a bunch of seafood. So kind of hard to like do extra seafood when that's basically the same recipe.
True. You're right.
So, but all in all, Maryland, not bad.
Not bad. Yeah.
Not bad.
Give it a thumbs up.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give it a thumb and a half up for chocolate fudge cookies.
I can just picture you just putting one thumb up and your other one being half
Yeah,
crooked.
Yeah, like you're trying to light a lighter. Like,
Yeah.
so.
1.5 thumbs.
Right. Well, foodies, it's been a great episode. Um, Only gonna be a one-parter this week, so
Yeah, only a one-parter.
which that's fine because the last couple we've been able to do two-parters of,
But I'm sure there'll be a couple new two-parters coming up. So
possibly even a three.
maybe we'll see. Because I
Yep.
think when the O goes and the P goes, we got a lot to talk about because we've been living in those states.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
So,
Well, I've been your host, the Meat Viking, with my wonderful co-host,
yeah, Professor Porkloin.
and we'll be signing off. Later.
Arrivederci.
Yep.